Hi, my name is Charles. I am the husband to Dr. Joyce Charles. We have 2 kids. That's Havila and King David.
My name is Joyce W. Charles. I'm an author and a therapist, a mother of 2 and a wife.
Hi, my name is Havila Wangari. I am Dr. Joyce W. Charles and Pastor Charles' firstborn daughter. I'd like to wish them a happy anniversary, and to you, I'd like to say that you're great parents. You've sacrificed a lot for us. You have given us everything that we desire. We have never lacked as a family, and that I'd like to be most grateful as a daughter. And I just want to say I love you guys. Thank you.
My name is King David.
I would say I'm actually very excited. 15 years is not yesterday, and it's been a long journey in terms of getting to understand the family life. And of course, when it comes to marriage, there are so many things around it. So it's not just about have done 15 years. There is so much. There's kids, there is business, there is career, there is family. So I'm actually excited because I've grown in so many areas of my life.
Well, it feels like just a couple of years, maybe probably less than 3 years. It's been short. I remember how I saw my wife first in a conference. She walks through this room. I'm seated all the way behind, and she walks through a door on the left side of the hall. And so I still remember the way she had worn the sweater she had on, the pull neck, also the skirt she had and the boots she had, and the way she walked in. And that's the first time I saw her. Second time I saw her, I think, was when we met now in the conference, when she now saw me. And I think the rest is history.
My husband and I met, of course, several years ago. And I've never seen him before. I go to this conference, it's a youth conference, and I'm a preacher there. He's a gospel artist, a hip hop artist. Yes, a hip hop artist, I just said it. And as a preacher, I preached and I called for an altar call, and he was there. And I remember prophesying to him and even gave him a word that God is gonna take him to the nations. And after that, that was it. And that evening was over. And so the following day, we happened to be grouped. And so I was leading a group that was speaking to people who are in different callings, like those that are called to do mission work, them that are called to travel, like in the travel industry. And so he came to my group. While I could have expected him to go to the group that I was doing, art, music. But he came to my group, and so we had a great time, and we were not very many of us. And after that, he took my number, and after that, he called me later after the conference. And when he insisted that we needed to meet, and when we met, he just went straight to the point, like, I am looking for a wife, not a girlfriend. I was like, wait a minute, what's up with this guy? You don't even know me, and you want to wife me? And to cut the story short, it was chasing of mouse and cat and dogs, and it just went on for a long time. Actually, I even remember leaving the country, and by the time I'm leaving the country, I was not like yes yet. The reason for all this is because when I met my husband, he was wearing what I would call torn jeans and torn t-shirt. I know you guys calling it possibly ragged, but for me, that's what it looked like, and even now it looked like that. Sorry if I offend you, but that was how he was looking. And so I didn't feel, and then he was very thin, like super thin. So I didn't feel like he was presentable. I didn't feel like he's what I was waiting on. I mean, I'd served God for quite a number of years. I've gone to different type of nations. I've really done so much for God, and so I felt like I was shortchanged. I mean, when you do so well, I thought, you expect God to reward you, and of course, he's a good man. But now look at what came. He's a man, super thin, not wearing the way I would have wanted him. And the reason why that was important to me is because I come from a background where my family, my parents are decent people. So who wanna take a guy home who looks, funny? But anyway, So those were the reasons why I didn't feel like he was right for me. But one thing I have to note is that I could tell his heart was good, his heart was pure, and his heart was genuine. But the outlook, it was not just for me. And I would say today, it was because the expectations I had was so high, or were so high, and also pride. I believe as a girl I had too much pride. I was thinking of myself so highly, and that is why I couldn't feel like he fitted to be the kind of person I could take as a husband. But then I left the country, still hadn't said yes. And so I went, and the people that we used to do ministry with in South Africa, like most of the people, women, actually elderly women, used to be in my ministry. By then I was single, I was doing some prophetic meetings, and I was doing evangelistic meetings. So they would all come and tell me, Pastor Joyce, I had a dream, and this was the way your husband looked. And these women would, like, you know, word for word, how he looks, how thin he is. They would describe him in a way that even if I was trying to run, I couldn't run. And that was not one person or two, quite a number of them, and they didn't know each other, they didn't compare notes. So I really knew that God was saying something. But then when I had it, I went to God and told God, you know what, okay, I've heard that this is a guy you have for me, but at this juncture, I don't think I want him. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna give him back to you as an offering. And in this case, a burnt offering, because this was really bad, a burnt offering. And let me just stay without a man. If this is all you have for me after I've served you this much, let me just stay without a man. I should be fine. I mean, I was used to going to the bush and do the work of the Lord. And so I didn't feel like it was a big deal. After all, I didn't feel like I was losing anything. I know that sounds bad, but that's where I was at that time. And you know, the Lord clearly spoke to me, and he told me, even when Abraham gave Isaac, I gave Isaac back. And at that point, I knew that I was not going to get out of this. And after that, when he contacted me again, I told him it was fine and it was okay, we can get married. But now this was not because I had love for this guy. It was just because I was obedient to the Lord. So my marriage to my husband, what I can say is that it was based on just obedience to God. I learned to love him in the marriage. However, I loved his heart. All right, so his heart was just good. If I could just have a different body, a different presentation with that heart, could have worked very, very well. But I just didn't like the presentation. But the heart was very, very much okay. And so I said, fine, we can go ahead and get married. And so he traveled to South Africa. So this is to tell you, we didn't date. Okay, remember we meet and he tells me he wants a wife, not a girlfriend. So we didn't even date. The next time we were meeting, we were in South Africa. And now we had planned the wedding. My parents were in the US, so we didn't even have time, or we didn't call family members. One of the reasons is because this was in 2008. There were tribal clashes in Kenya. It was really bad. That's what my parents were in the US. It was just us and our pastors there, our people, and we planned a wedding. And the wedding day came. I was still feeling like, you know, God has let me down. I was still feeling like I wish I could change this, but it was just what God wanted for me. And I was really crying on that day, and people would have thought that I was crying because I was so excited. You know, the way guys get very excited about marriage. But in my heart, I'm like, Lord, if this is what it feels to, you know, go to the slaughterhouse, this is me and you. And I'm saying yes, and now to the marriage. You know, it's one thing to say yes for marriage, and one thing to say yes when you're going through the vows and you are signing that certificate. So for me, it was like really a dying moment. I really died at that time. But 15 years later, let me not even say 15 years later, because immediately I knew this man, God have chosen him for me. Because that heart I used to see was okay and it was good. That's exactly what my husband turned out to be. So I didn't need 2 years or 3 years to verify if he was God's real. He was really, really the man that God had for me, because I believe that God knew where both of us were going in terms of purpose, and we both needed each other It's only that at that point our eyes, or my eyes, were not able to see basically the value that was in him.
I think the biggest fear was that I had come through a family lineage that had actually a lot of marriage issues, and so I think that is one of the biggest fears that I've ever had in marriage, and also that I didn't have a mother and a father in that case. So I didn't know how it would work out, but I think my grandfather and my grandmother played a very big role when it comes to marriage, because they were married for very, very long time.
I think my biggest fear was to make a mistake, and that is why I didn't feel like I wanted him. The reason I feared to make a mistake is because I've had terribly failed relationships, and so I didn't want to do that again. And I don't think anybody want to do that again.
Well, I think, I'm sure most of the men, if not all men, have dreams and visions. And you want to attain specific things within specific times. And so when I was young, I knew that I didn't want to lose time. And I needed to redeem time, because I really needed to be, I think like many people, you want to be a millionaire before you're 30, and you want to have your children before a specific age, and then you have to have your children finish university at a specific age so that you can enjoy life. And so some of these things were some of my goals, and I think up to now I still have dreams and big goals, and I think by then I had goals and dreams that I needed to accomplish at specific ages in life. And so I think the key thing here was I needed to get done and dusted, and I needed to, and I saw and I found a good woman, and I thought I think the search has come to an end.
I believe that the Holy Spirit does a great job to teach in any subject of life. However, it is important to notice that when you go through the journey of life, the people that we meet, they teach us in one way or another. So for me, I would not say there was a lesson I got into marriage. I'm like, I didn't know this. I would say by the time my mom passed away a few years ago, my mom and dad were married for 56 years. And so I grew up in a family where I saw marriage, and a long marriage. And I saw resilience there. I saw, how my mom walked through with my dad, and my dad also. And so I'm the last one in my family. And that means I saw my brothers and sisters getting married, and I saw their marriages. So I was empowered, yes, in terms of the lessons that anyone could have learned. And so I don't feel like I missed something.
I think probably when I think about marriage and the things that I would have wanted to be taught is on how to treat a woman who is not your mother, who is not your sister, and who is not just any other woman, but a woman who you would spend the rest of your life with. And I believe some of the things I learned them from through my grandfather and my grandmother, but then there's still more that can actually be learned. I don't think beyond that, probably I would say on how to raise kids, how to raise a girl, how to raise a boy. But then I think I picked up a number of things as I grew up, and as I lived around a grandfather and a grandmother who had raised able kids in their time. Oh my God, I think my wife. She's an extremist, and I think she has gone through tough times. I mean, being in Namibia, gone to many different countries without knowing anyone, going to different places without places where you cannot even think of going, a place where you don't have amenities and facilities that we are used to, even in the lowest part of the nation. I think that's the case. That's for her. I think she would be the one.
Mine, because I am the kind of person who have gone to very difficult places to do mission work, and that is just an attraction I have for those remote places. And even when it's a vacation, I'm still looking for an opportunity for me to showcase God in that environment.
Oh my God, I think I am dysfunctional. I don't function. I've lived without my wife for more than 1 year. I think when it comes to the issue of food, every time she's not around, she's been away for couple of times, I would say. But then when I wake up and I find myself I need to get into the kitchen, I think I would prefer just doing bread and juice, and that's it. And I mean, it's a big problem because even milk, warming it in the microwave, it's a big challenge. So I think food, it's one of them.
The fun and the craziness. My husband is one person who brings the mood alive in the house. You see him just quiet and you won't notice he's around, it's because he's busy. But if he's there and he's interacting with us, jokes will be flying from right to the left. And so that's really basically something that myself and the kids always would miss if maybe he's not around. Me.
I think she is. I'm the funny one, and so she is. She would discipline the kid, and I'm one of the favorite to the kids, and I know that one for sure. She's the one.
Where? I am.
I think I am. But I would choose her over me because I think I have both of my left foot. So in dancing, so I don't really dance very well. But she's always come out to be one of the best dancers, and she knows that. But I've never agreed.
He does.
Oh my God, I don't think there's a man who shops the most. I think for her, we've come to agreement that when she goes to shop, she has more than enough. Even if she's going to pick up one item, she will end up coming with a big trolley.
Havila, he did. King David Havila picked the name for the brother.
Havila, I did. I picked it up from the book of Genesis. On the second born, King David, Havila did, the sister did. White chocolate.
That's a tough one. Her? I don't know. Anything for men that costs 500, really? This era.
That's a tough one. I think I think she would pick the two kids and I. Two things. I don't know. Probably, I don't know. I have no idea.
Items, not people, right? I believe that would be like documents, maybe like passport, ID, and his laptop. No, he's very calm. I'm the one who would possibly feel like I was shortchanged, and yeah, but for him, he's okay.
She would just be straight and cut it down to the throat. and she would definitely talk about it, even when it comes to the waiter and the management. I think that she has done before. She got from me. I have no idea. I really don't remember.
Well, now this man had torn jeans and t-shirt. So talking of gift, oh yeah, my wedding ring, of course.
I bought her MacBook. She's back in school, and so I thought she needed a great tool for her to be able to study well, and a tool that is able to help her in her school.
He's just easygoing. He takes nothing serious. Like I feel sometimes I should be screaming on the roof. It is like easing it. It's a no big deal. I wish I had that kind of ease. Yeah.
Well, I think for her, she's more passionate in the things of the kingdom, and I think that's one of the biggest things that I would is a quality that she has that I don't really like. It's not so much in depth, but it's something that I would really love to have. I don't know. I think probably being in the media, being in the mainstream, being in the public eye. It was tough for us. Putting our lives in the public domain. But then we now laugh about it. It's great. Also, the other thing I think was tough was our first conference, which we did in Nairobi, 2022. It was tough for us. By then, we didn't have we had some experience, but on the other hand, we had some tough time. But now it's become something that we have laughed about. Also, the Nyeri Crusade, it was really, really, really tough. I think we saw God in it, and so we know it was a tough one, but God saw us through.
I remember, like, when we got married, like, we didn't have much money even to eat well. Okay, we will not sleep hungry, but there are some sausages that we would the sausages we cook, so we would cook those sausages and they would eat ugali. They are funny sausages. They would eat ugali. Then we didn't even have a bed, so we would sleep on the floor with a mattress. So so sometimes we laugh about it because for a reason we still have, I would cook him those sausages until today, and he's like, you know what, I still feel the taste that I felt those many years ago. And yeah, that was funny. Even today it's funny because we when you look back, we're like, look how far we've come. Or how he looked, pray.
We could pray for 4 hours, I think. We can pray for 4 hours straight. We have done it before, and I think it's one of the easiest things that we can do together. We don't watch movies. The other thing we could do is spend time with the kids. We can do it for many hours. The other thing that we have done for more than 4 hours, we have driven for approximately 6 hours.
Walk.
Her favorite thing to do, I think she prays more. Yeah, she would spend most of the time in the prayer room. My favorite thing, I think I'm a workaholic. I would work day, I would work night, I would work on Christmas Day.
Between us two, him, a big dog.
She brought a dog once. Actually, she spent a lot of money on it. The dog was, I think, about 2 weeks old, and so the dog pet lived inside the house. She's brought a chicken. She's brought a chicken at home, not once, but then these things. Yeah, so the kids would call them pets, and so I think we should just consider them as pets. But then how the pets ends up should not be a story to talk about.
Patience.
Time was an issue, but she's really changed. I have learned a lot of patience. Number two, it's not easy to just live with anyone. It's very difficult. It's difficult to live with your sister. It's difficult to live with your brother. But that part of patience has been a big part of me that I've learned. That's in marriage. Number two is to be more responsible on the people who are in my life. That's my family, my close families, and so even learning to just have people in life and just love them and just know how to treat them.
Genuineness. The reason for that is because sometimes when you're dating, there is a lot of masks, and you just want to project this nice person. Although I didn't go through dating, but of course, like now our first months of marriage, you're trying to learn each other. You're trying to put your first foot forward. Then as you grow, you're like, wait a minute, this is me. It's what you get. So there's a way society would tell you, like, you even when you're married, if you listen to everybody out there, they kind of tell you, treat your husband like this, do things like this. Like there's so many advice out there. But I tell you, as you get into marriage, I realize that being genuine, being real, just being congruent is it. Just be who you are, because at the end of the day, you can't fake things forever, and you're not gonna wake up every day having makeups. You're not gonna wake up every day feeling like singing hallelujah. Just be you. Number one, I would say that people need to grow. By growth, I mean grow towards the direction of your purpose. When you enter into marriage and you have not grown, or you have not actualized, you're not self-actualized, so what happens is that you come into marriage and you are not the person that you're supposed to be. And so the issue with that is that you are not whole. So you're gonna be looking for other feelers out there, or maybe from your partner. But then when you have embraced growth, it is very easy to live with somebody, because when you wake up in the morning, you're chasing a purpose. Especially as a woman, you're not waking up in the morning to look for somebody to tell you you're beautiful. That is not what you wake up looking after. You're waking up thinking about your career, your business, or your calling, your gifts, your talents. That's what you're waking up for. So you have something you're looking for every day. So your marriage is not your calling. So the way women would wake up every time and they're like, oh, how do I look? You didn't tell me you love me. You didn't send me a message today. All that fuss, it's out because you've grown. You're your own whole person. So that's number one. And number two, I would say to learn the love of Christ, in terms of the love that usually attracts people is the love that don't last forever. But when you love your spouse like Christ loved the church, that basically means that you've gone beyond the emotion, and you've gone now to the value, to the real reason why marriage is a type and shadow of how Christ will basically come for his bride. So when you learn that love, then you understand that this person has flaws, this person is not perfect. You love them through whatever, because now you love them the way Christ loved the church, or you love them the way the bride should love the groom. So it becomes easy. So that's number two. Number three, I would say, like, put God first in everything. Let the Holy Spirit be your guide, because there's so many things that will come along the way that you may not even know how to handle it. Surprises can come from anywhere. You can get kids, and at the end of the day you were like, I've never seen this character, I don't even know how to deal with this. This is not my character, it's not my husband's, this is just some brand new child that has come. So it could be marriage, it could be finances, it could be career. So if you put God out of it, it's really gonna be hard, because you're gonna try to figure out things by yourself. But when you have God, He's your guide, He'll help you through it. And there is nothing, even if it's maybe something hectic or something that is confusing, there shall be a way, no matter what.
For a marriage to work, I think both of you should be reading from the same page. That means that you have to have known each other vision very, very well. And I think that's the purpose of dating. The second thing would be a friendship. Make sure that the person that you're with is your best friend. And I think that thing would be communication. That communication becomes key when it comes to the relationship. Key thing is to teach the applicables that pertains to marriage and living together and having a good, healthy relationship. So I think the number one thing would be to teach applicable things when it comes to marriage, based on what we have learned from Scripture, and both what we have learned from the Son Jesus Christ and the church. And I think it plays a big role, and it gives a very good pathway for any kind of marriage to work. If we don't understand marriage, that it's the same as having the church and Christ, having the relationship as Christ and the church have, then we are out of course. And I think marriage can never be defined better than how the Bible describes it, like the relationship between the church and Christ.
I believe the body of Christ should really spend time to project marriages that work, and also teach people how to live faithful before God. You know what? If you're not faithful before God, if you're not working with God, marriage won't change. So what happens most of the time, you will find even the people that are teaching on marriage, even us that are in the church, somebody could be very busy teaching on marriage, but their marriage is failed, you know. So we are not genuine, we are just putting a mask. So let's really project marriages that work. And not only that, because with God it has to work. So let's put work in there, and let's empower our people, let's empower our young people. If people come to you and you're in leadership and they want to get married, and you can tell they're not grown, they have not discovered their purposes, they have no jobs, they have and you're very okay telling them it's okay to get married, it means that you didn't spend time to teach your people or to teach your congregation the kind of preparation everybody needs before they get married. So I think we should not just wait for people to get married. In our congregation, we should have teaching, sermons, seminars that prepare young people to marriage. I think most of the time people have youth seminars. There is a lot of talk on relationships, and which is okay, but we should add talks on growth and specifically personal development.
I think the way we resolve our conflict is, it's a little bit, I think they would say, amicable. We don't really solve our problems when everyone is heated and everyone is hot red as an ambulance. But then we don't allow them to stay for long. And so when there's a conflict, the key thing what happens is that you would find that it will be probably an argument over something small, something big, but then within a day, we've never gone, I think, more than 2-3 days, but then we have to basically come and speak it out. And so after speaking it out, when everyone has calmed down, then we would talk about it, and then someone would accept their mistake, and then there would be, the thing is solved. When it comes to marriage, it's more of a 50-50 rule. It's where you have to give in on a thing, and the other partner has to also give in on something. And not always that one person is moving left and the other one is moving the other direction. And also, the thing about anyone walking with someone who is walking in the same direction as you're walking is quite key. I've learned this because you would find that one person is moving in this direction. And also the other thing is that I would compliment with that is that many people don't want to support the vision of their partners. And in many cases is where you find that one partner is pushing their own personal agenda, and because they are not supported by the other person, they also pushing their own agenda. And at some time, after you have built up your own kind of structure or kind of vision and dream, then it becomes so difficult to put them together to walk on the same lane. So I think walking on the same line, having the same vision, or visions that are supported. Like right now, my wife is studying. So she brought it up, and then we had a discussion about it, and I was like, just go for it. Even if it's going to take 10 years, I will push it. I will support it. Also, on the other hand, she would look at what I am pushing, and it will become her part. So the whole thing is, she has an idea, I have an idea. We put it on the same lane, put it on the same table, agree on it, help each other shape the dreams and vision. I know for what she's doing is for the purpose of the family, and she understands what I'm doing, it's for the purpose of the family. So that makes it one. And unless the Bible talks about unless two agree on one thing, and they agree on one thing and become one, then they are separated. And so I think it's quite key that you support each other's dream. With
the conflict resolution, number one, you should always understand that no matter where that conflict is going to go, it should not be the one that is going to bring a problem in that relationship. So before you even solve it, just know this is not it. This is not what is going to make me throw in the towel. Number two, always make sure that the environment is conducive for resolving that. Sometimes if I would feel like there is something between me and my husband, or finances or children, or something that we need to resolve, I will first of all gauge the environment. How is he? Maybe he has had a hard day, so is that the day really to talk about it? I'll be like, no, this is not the time. And also, not everything that should be resolved. Some things should be taken to God first, because you should also know, how does your partner handle conflict resolution? There's some people who just close up. There are some people who just back off. There are some people who just create boundaries. So you should learn your spouse well before you begin just solving conflicts the way we are taught in the society they should be resolved, so that you're able to engage the style that works for them. And as I said, sometimes first of all begin with prayer. Or even if you're not like a very spiritual person, just ask yourself, if it was you with that conflict, maybe you're trying to speak to your spouse, how would you want it done? Would you want somebody to come in with a very high tone, or with a body language that suggests that they have really wronged? Is that what you want? So do it the way you would want it done to you. So mind your language, mind your environment. Know the communication style of your spouse. Get to know, how do they resolve conflict? How do they feel about conversations that are not simple, so that you don't end up having a problem on top of another problem. Sometimes give it time. Give it 2 days. Because sometimes when you solve something and you're very angry, at the end of the day, it becomes something else, gonna go out of hand. So understand the environment in terms of emotionally consequences. Sometimes there are things that you resolve and the consequences are gonna be very, very bad. So remember I said from the beginning, decide this thing, the way you solve it is not to break the marriage, it is to make it better. So solve it knowing you're solving it to make it better, not to break or to make the marriage hard or to have conflict or to break trust, you know. Some people, for example, the reason I'm saying that is because maybe what you want to solve is because you saw a message on a phone or something you didn't trust. So already now, if you're gonna attack this thing, even after that thing has been resolved, your spouse will always feel you're always watching after them and you're watching their things. So you can resolve that, but you've created another problem. So they don't even know now, you know, and then even when the messages they're receiving is very, very genuine, let me say that, not from anybody that can get in between, he or she would be like, I don't know whether I should, even a colleague's message. You know, there are women who are very, very sensitive. They would not even expect their husband to receive a message from a woman. And so even if they receive a very genuine message, they still want to delete it because they don't know when are you going to go snooping after. So that's why conflict resolution is a whole package of knowledge that you need to have, and that's why people go to counseling. That's why people, if it's a big deal, so that you don't mess this trying to resolve something.
Quite key. It's quite important, because if both of you are not able to solve your own issues, or you're not able to agree on a thing, and I think they call it arbitration, where you have to call for someone who is able to sit in between the two of you and try to solve the issues and try to understand what is the main issue when it comes to the relationship between the two of you. I think it's important. The worst thing is that when it comes to one person pushing it, or maybe one person suggesting that this is the person I would like us to meet and have a sitting with and go through the process of therapy, it's always not treated in the manner that it should be. But unless both of you agree, we are going to have this and we are going to move forward. Basically what I say is that if someone is in drugs, or if someone is in any kind of an addiction, they will have to first of all agree that they are in the problem and that they need help. And then they can decide, let's go forward and let's get therapy, let's get help. Unless they agree, they decide by themselves, then it's not well taken. It's not well taken in when it comes to therapy. So firstly, I would say it's the first option of both of you agreeing that you need help. And the second thing is for you to research and look for someone who is neutral and someone that you can listen to without having an influence over the other.
Extremely important, because most of the reasons why marriages break, they are reasons that those marriages, apart from marriages that break because the spouse, one or both, are abusive in terms of maybe physically abusive, whichever. Those ones, I will always say, let them be apart, go through counseling so that they don't kill each other. I think we are living in a time where people are killing each other. But these other issues, it's very important for a marriage to have a counselor, even way beyond marriage, because you'll be surprised that there is so many things that people don't know. For example, I just spoke about growth, and I spoke very, very in a very shallow way. When you go to counseling, or when you involve therapy, there is actually a very big difference between counseling and when you go through therapy, because you're gonna, even your mind, you're gonna grow in terms of your thinking, you're gonna grow in terms of your behavior, you're gonna grow in all these areas because they're all connected together. But if you don't involve a counselor, or you don't involve, let me say, therapist, if you don't involve a therapist, it becomes difficult, because you're that person and you don't know how to begin changing that person. But now therapy helps you to grow, to become a better person, to, cognitively, you begin to think better. And if you think better, that means your output, which is your behavior, you're going to have a better behavior. How you speak. You're going to learn empathy in terms of you learn how to enter now in your partner's shoes. So you're not just being you and, nobody can change me. I'm like this. That kind of selfishness it now is out of the way because you're taught how to live with your partner.
She likes being a perfectionist, and my dad likes golfing. He likes playing golf. Became famous for worshiping. She's a really good cook, so I think she'd become a great cook and open her own hotel and restaurant. For playing. I think he'd become a good comedian.
What's the guy? Yes! Everyone is saying yes, only you saying no. Can you just keep quiet and then we hear? Let's watch the guy!
Yes! Watch that guy! Watch that guy!
Watch that guy!
Watch that guy! Watch that guy! Watch that guy! Watch that guy! Watch that guy!
My mom is good at everything, I think. My dad, I don't think he can keep quiet for long.
The last one, hii sasa ndio tunafaa tusmile kabisa. Hizi ni zile za success card.
My mom loves chicken. My dad, any sweet food.
Oh Jesus.
I think the last Mariona Kaskari ni kama 2 weeks ago or 3.
No, 4. Mko na hii syrup mahali mumeweka na kijiko.
My dad and I, we can just start laughing. Yes, because of anything. And my mom and I, we can just go out when she's free and just be girls. My mom's favorite place, the first one, is definitely the prayer room. And my dad is just somewhere he can just chill and be comfortable after a long day. My mom has taught me to be neat and not perfect, but almost perfect in everything. And my dad, hardworking. My dad and I, he's very outgoing and extroverted. And I like being by myself. Oh, my mom, and she likes chicken a lot. I don't like chicken. Inside the pool. Both. I feel like that's a hard question because I have my dad's skin color and my mom's facial structure.
My favorite sport is soccer. First day because on that day we have soccer, and also Monday because we have parade, and also Wednesday because on that day we go in to the dining hall and we praise and worship there to God and Jesus. My father.
My dad, because he's just he's more into doing fun things. Yeah, I like shoes a lot, so I would buy shoes.
I would buy my parents like stuff for them. Like for my mother, I will buy her like a brand new phone, like an iPhone 14 or something. I don't know what I'll buy for my father.
Dubai.
I would like to go to Hawaii.
The fact that I can just hang out with him and like a friend, because I don't like going out.
I like that he studies hard and that he teaches me some things.
Education is not everything. They just don't pressure me on things that most parents pressure other children on, and even they provide for us whatever we need.
Well, my dad, I like him for taking us to like fun places and places to eat. If there's like a celebration, like for like if there's a birthday for someone in the family, or if like anyone is learning something new. For her, she teaches me like a lot of things, and she gives me food when I'm like hungry, and yeah, other things.
I don't know cars, so I think she'd like a big black car, probably Orange Rover. Yeah.
A Mercedes Benz, like my dad's.
Dad would be like Pink Panther. My mom, I don't think she can be a cartoon character. She's unique.
Super speed, flight, and lightning.
Teleportation, because I can teleport back home from school.
My name is King David. I wish them a good celebration, and I hope them for the best. I thank them for taking care of me and for also feeding me.
Hi, my name is Havila Wangari. I am Dr. Joyce W. Charles and Pastor Charles' firstborn daughter. I'd like to wish them a happy anniversary, and to you, I'd like to say that you're great parents. You've sacrificed a lot for us. You've given us everything that we desire. We have never lacked as a family, and that I'd like to be most grateful as a daughter. And I just want to say I love you guys. Thank you.
What has not worked is what people will advise you, what society would advise you to do. I think because kids come different, parents learn how to bring them up, how to, work with them as their unique person. So sometimes you would have society telling you this is what you do with kids, you do this with kids, but you learn the model that works for your child. So for us, that has really worked for us, so that we looked at the personality of the child, the skills that maybe needs to be developed, the temperance of the child, and then we're able to grow from there. But now society will give you so many, ideas on how you need to raise your child. So I would prefer to do parenting depending with, of course, the values of the family and how the child is. Because again, the value of the family matters a lot.
God has worked for us. I think being believers in one faith and having the same, I would not say the same kind of fire, but having the same kind of perspective on God and marriage. I think that has worked for us. What has not worked for us, I'm not really sure. If something has not really worked for us as parents,